Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to our subject, teaching profession, and to our lovely instructor, Miss Edwina Boldo. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Mary Rose V. Clarion. So, what is philosophy of education? A philosophy of education may influence what subjects or topics are taught, how they are taught, and perhaps more importantly, the supporting beliefs and values that are taught, both implicitly and explicitly, within and around the curriculum. So, we all know that philosophy of education is a lab of wisdom that it is identifies and clarifies the beliefs, values, and understanding of an individual or a group with respect to education. Okay, so this is the 14th philosophy of education given to our instructor, Miss Edwina Boldo, and she instruct us to choose one of this philosophy, and I choose right, behaviorism. What is behaviorism? Behaviorism focuses on the idea that all behavior are learned through interactions with the environment that modify and shape the behavior with various type of behavior reinforcement. So it is a focuses on conditioning that modify and shape the behavior of a learner. That they have a key concept, stimulus and response that learn through interactions with the environment. Okay, before I proceed, let's have emphasize the agenda for this video. Why to teach behaviorism and what to teach behaviorism. And last, how to teach behaviorism. So let's discuss why to teach behaviorism. So behaviorist school are concerned with the modification and shaping of student behavior by providing for a favorable environment since they believe that they are a product of their environment. So behaviorism or behavioral learning theory is a popular concept to help the student learn through interactions with the environment. So next, so what to teach behaviorism? Behaviorist teacher teach students to respond favorably to various stimuli in the environment. So like the operant conditioning of B.F. Skinner is a type of conditioning where humans or animals learn a behavior by associating it with its consequences. So here is the various type of reinforcement. We have positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. When we say positive reinforcement is the way you praise a student when she behaves well or do something successfully, complete his or her task. So for instance, giving extra points for those learners who have actively in the performance task inside the classroom. So that is the one example of the positive reinforcement. And then when we say negative reinforcement is an attempt to influence behavior by taking away something unpleasant. So for instance, the learner study hard and get a highest grade in every test in a multiple times. So the teacher will eliminate the homework. So, which is the teachers use the negative reinforcement to motivate learners to study and change their behavior in making doing study hard to get high score so that they will not do the homework. Next, the punishment. We have two types of punishment, the positive and negative punishment. When we say positive punishment is a type of punishment is also known as punishment by application and involves presenting an adversive stimulus after a behavior has occurred. So for instance, the learner is talking in the middle of the teacher's discussions. So the teachers scold learners to interrupt them. So in this situation, the teacher may um, call the name of the learners loudly that all everyone can hear, so the learners will be interrupted. And then when we say negative punishment, this type of punishment is also known as punishment by remove or negative punishment that involves taking away a desirable stimulus after a behavior has occurred. So for instance, the learners talking in the middle of teacher's discussion. So the teacher tell the learners that they will skip the recess because of their behavior. So that it means that is not a good punishment after all. So okay, as you see the diagram in the screen, this is the operant conditioning flow of B.F. Skinner. So the reinforcement, the punishment. So reinforcement increase the behavior of the learners, but they have two types of this reinforcement, positive and negative. So positive, it is appetitive stimulus that following the correct behavior of the learners. So when we say negative, it is they have two options, either escape or active avoidance. So when we say active avoidance, they will be um, studying to avoid getting a bad grade. So when the also this punishment also have two types, positive and negative. And then as clear from the diagram, when a desirable result follows an action, the behavior is more likely to occur again in the future. So similarly, response followed by negative outcomes are less likely to be repeated in the future. So we will not have really 100% that the changing of behavior of learners will be maintaining. So they have also chances that in the possible in the future they will repeatedly the behavior that is not that the behavior that is not good. Okay, next, how to teach behaviorism. So behaviorist teacher ought to arrange environmental conditioning so that the learners can make the response to stimuli. So as we all know that all the teacher have start a lesson with routines, and it also have a primary example. uh, it is also a primary example of conditioning. For instance, when the learners entering the classroom, they will put their things into their provided lockers. So that is one of the condition lesson routines for the inside of the in the inside of the classroom. So what is the other philosophy that have similarity to behaviorism? So as you see the screen, behaviorism and humanism. Why? Because um, both concepts are about understanding why we as a human do the things that we do and what causes to do the things that we do. So it is more the about the human, the and the behavior of the human. So behaviorism is emphasize the importance of observable actions, such as that behavior is shaped by the environment, and humanism, on the other hand, emphasize the study of the whole person and the inner feeling, which is the behavior of the human is included to this humanism. So in what way they are similar? So as you see that both of this philosophy approaches focus on human beings and their behavior. Also the perspective may have their own strengths and weaknesses. So as you see that for this first graph, behaviorism is a psychological approach that uses scientific and objective methods of investigation to analyze human and animal psychologies. When we say in the humanism is a psychological approach that stresses on the study of the whole individual and the behavior. So take note the word behavior related to individuals' inner feelings and self-image. That so in the second, focus on the observable actions. For example, behavior. So in the humanism, there included inner feelings and mental processes. So the goal of behaviorism is to observable behavior include the rule of consequences, reinforcement, punishers, and modify or shaping behavior of the learners to be able to control their behavior in a proper way. So that is all for the philosophy of education, and I hope that in the future we will use this whole philosophy in helping to our future learners also, so to correct their um, inappropriate behavior, especially in the 21st century learners. They are really advanced human. Daghan kay stag naibaw-an ba, then ang ilang naibaw-an is not really enough them to be kanang magpakamaayo bisag dili na sa saktong lugar. So that is why as a future teacher pohon soon I will use this philosophy to change and to modify the behavior of our learners, that they will keep it in a long run of their life, until they will realize that the teacher's doing is not for the teacher's career but for them, that the that their teacher in elementary and preschool, that is not really easy handle their behavior, that unnecessary, very inappropriate. So I hope soon that we will use this all philosophy and all the learnings we do um, learn by our sa itong mga teachers karon nga nagpakaba na po. So that's all and everything, and I hope you learn a lot for my video, and I hope also that you will use this all philosophy or all your chosen philosophy for your future career as a teacher in this um, world. And that's all, and thank you. Bye.